critical constitutional issue, a tussle between freedom of speech and expression and the power of the court to punish for the contempt of court, considering the expressed comment as contempt. This is the problem before us. It's a very serious issue, and we need to deliberate very, very deeply. And Mr. Satyanarayana was asking for remedies. So you're all a great set of lawyers who are practicing in high courts and Supreme Court, and I'm only a teacher. So remedy lies in the courts, perhaps, and not in the society, or maybe it lies only in the society and not in the courts. So this, on this topic, I'd like to start with one fundamental aspect that we should remember. You must have read preamble of our Constitution. Preamble of Constitution talks about all other aspects, not about judiciary. Nowhere you will find any discussion, any mention of judiciary. I'm just pointing out the one very interesting aspect. Perhaps you also must have not noticed this. It talks about justice, but justice is not according to your understanding of justice. It is justice, political, economic, and social. It doesn't talk about litigative justice. So this is very, very important. On the other hand, it lays down a very, very high emphasis on liberty. Liberty of what? Liberty of thought, liberty of expression, liberty of belief, liberty of faith, liberty of worship. Now, these are two important elements we should remember. Then what does it mean? Why it is so? What was the emphatic aspect of the Constitution founding fathers when they laid down this kind of preamble? My answer is that they give preference to liberty. They give preference to liberty of thought, liberty of expression. Now, my point, after studying this episode in an in-depth manner, I can claim that I have done it in an in-depth manner because I was thinking ever since the tweets of Prashant Bhushan were available on the Twitter. I was reading it. On the very day, I was thinking of whether this will be a subject matter of contempt of court. Not that they are contemptuous, but because of the atmosphere prevailed in this country, atmosphere of intolerance to criticism, atmosphere of animosities, conflicts, and total lack of fraternity. I would like to remind you about fraternity. You know, that is one aspect which is mentioned in preamble, along with equality, liberty, and fraternity. You look at the combination of the expressions. They are not just like that, they are not used. They have certain intention for that. And Ambedkar very clearly says, without fraternity, equality and liberty doesn't exist. And without equality, liberty has no meaning. And without liberty, equality has no meaning. So you cannot also imagine equality and liberty in the absence of fraternity. This is a very, very interesting statement. I think all lawyers should dwell upon this aspect much deeper so that you understand the philosophy of the Constitution. And we teach in our colleges constitutionalism. What is constitutionalism? Constitutionalism is nothing but limiting absolute power of the state. Absolute power of the state. You know, the state is always powerful. Imagine the power of Supreme Court. Imagine the power of Prime Minister. Imagine the power of President of India. Imagine the power of Chief Minister. And I'd like to also tell you about the most powerful man on the earth in India is District Magistrate. District Magistrate is very powerful. I don't know whether you have any time understood it, any time you have thought about it. In my view, PM, CM, and DM, these three are most powerful personalities in a constitutionally governed democratic constitution that we are talking about. So these three persons can do undo anything. Then if you take the issue further down and look at the power of the people, it is Sub-Inspector of Police who has wonderful power. He can even book case against President of India, according to CRPC. He does it or not is a different thing, but he has technically the power. Then another personality who is very powerful in this country is Forest Guard. He decides the life of tribals. And the tribals who do not know Supreme Court, who do not know that article, this article, which Satyanarayana was referring to. He doesn't know any articles. He doesn't know how to come to Supreme Court. He will not approach you people, All India lawyers. No, nobody will approach you. They'll suffer their own sufferings. They will fight, survive, die or fight. Whatever that comes to them, they suffer. So that is their life. Now, the constitutionalism means giving people certain fundamental rights which operate as restrictions on executive power. This is the point. So why I am telling this? Today we have a controversy, conflict, and fight between freedom of speech and expression and Supreme Court's power to punish for contempt of court. Now, which has to be preferred? If you go to the basic elements of constitutionalism, which has to be preferred? My answer is, without any doubt, liberty. Because your liberty is a limitation on the absolute power of the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is trying to flex its muscle against your voice. It is trying to stifle your voice by flexing its muscle. Now this is the reality. The content, facts, its interpretation, comment, the literal meaning, all that we'll come to know. We'll discuss that. But basically this is the problem. Whether the all-powerful Supreme Court can send people like Prashant Bhushan to jail, or whether Prashant Bhushan will survive with his voicing of a statement. Now let me take you to those two statements first of all. Then we will go further to discuss the legality of the subject. Okay. Now, in my view, we had to read the text of the comment. Now, tweet 1. Let me take you to facts. Facts are more important. I hope you agree, all lawyers. Law is common. Facts are peculiar to each and every case. And that is the reason facts are important. Law is common. Now, how do you apply the law is up to the talent, merit, expertise, and linguistic skills of, communicative skills of lawyer and understanding skills of the judge. Now, on 29th June, Prashant Bhushan shared an image of CJI Bob Day sitting on a Harley Davidson superbike. I don't know what it is. Perhaps you people might be knowing it. Commenting that the CJI was sitting on a bike belonging to a BJP leader without a mask or helmet at a time when the Supreme Court was denying citizens their fundamental right to access justice because it was in lockdown mode. Now look at this statement. First, you have to split this into two. One is image where Chief Justice of India sat on a superbike. In my view, it should not have been taken into account at all. Something personal, or somebody likes something, you will go, and once you find a very beautiful vehicle, you'd like to go and sit over there. It's a common human temptation. For that, whether it is CJI or anybody, it should not matter. Okay. Then Mr. Prashant Bhushan did not notice that it was on a stand. It was not moving. But still, he was very careful when he was writing this comment. He says, sitting on a bike. That's all. He did not say driving on the bike. When he is not driving on the bike, he need not wear helmet. So if you are trying to point out any illegality, I'd like to clarify that there is no illegality. And then point about mask. Yeah, that's an issue. It was a COVID day, and because of COVID, we have lockdown. Because of lockdown, we are not hearing the cases. Because we are not hearing the cases, hundreds of fundamental rights cases are pending the attention of, seeking attention of the Supreme Court. Now, come to the truthful part of the statement. Sitting, correct. Vehicle belonging to somebody, correct. Without mask, correct. Without helmet, of course, useless. You need not worry about it. Not noticing stand, of course, it's a mistake for which he regretted. Now, he is comparing CJI sitting on a bike with Supreme Court denying citizens their fundamental rights to access, whether it is truth or not. This is what we have to say. Because it was in lockdown mode, that he was very careful again. It is not personal wish of Supreme Court that it should not have real hearings. It is compelled to have virtual hearings. It's a very, very peculiar situation. He's also conscious of that. He made a mention of that, lockdown mode. But now, what is that you're communicating by this message, by this tweet? You are communicating that CJI is absolutely not interested in providing access to fundamental rights. He's enjoying his life. It's a subtle, suggestive meaning. But if you go to literal meaning, it's just what is that? A mention of two situations in which he has a role. See, he is sitting over the cases, he is sitting over the supervisor. This is all. Then it's a criticism, I agree. But the question is it defamation? Does he, what is it, level any charge? Did he level any charge against him? Is a question. And at a time when the Supreme Court was denying citizens, is it an allegation? This is what one has to know. Then Supreme Court, if you have seen the response of the Supreme Court, I'm avoiding the defense and all that because you all must be knowing it. You are lawyers as well. So this tweet was not against the CJI. Supreme Court says, now I'm not saying. So the tweet is not against the CJI in his individual capacity, but as head of the judiciary. Fine. From March 23 to August 4, Supreme Court benches had 879 sittings and heard 12,748 matters. It's a world record. Nowhere any court during lockdown spent so much of time on the people's issues. It noted that Bhushan himself not only appeared as a lawyer during this period, but also challenged the FIR against him. The court refused to accept his tweet as written out of anguish. He said, I wrote it out of anguish, but Supreme Court did not accept. This is Supreme Court's response. And it considers it as untruthful statement, first of all. And any comment based on untruthful will be unfair comment. And unfair comment could be defamation. And defamation could be affecting the dignity. And if it affects dignity, it can be considered as contempt. That is Supreme Court's interpretation, not my interpretation. Again, Supreme Court says, if it is defamation of a judge in his official capacity as a judge, it might amount to, it will amount to, it has amounted to contempt, dignity issue. And I want to protect my dignity. Now, whether CJI is personal or not, the point is he's apex authority of the court. And when you are talking and when you are mentioning CJI, you are mentioning it in full context. Then the second tweet, which was written 2 days prior to this 29th June tweet, which I read out. When historians in future look back at the last 6 years to see how democracy has been destroyed in India, even without a formal emergency, they will particularly mark the role of the Supreme Court in this destruction, and more particularly, the role of the last 4 CJIs. Now, what is this? First, he is saying in the last 6 years, there is a destruction of democracy. Second, he is saying, what is the role of Supreme Court? He says, mark the role of Supreme Court. He is not saying it is facilitated it, it approved it, it has allowed it, it has destroyed. He didn't say anything. He simply said, history will particularly mark the role of Supreme Court in this destruction, more particularly the role of last 4 CJIs, including the present CJI. Now, what is that these 4 CJIs have done? What is the significance of role of Supreme Court in the last 6 years? One has to study it. It is not truth of the facts that you are discussing. It is a review of a role of a Supreme Court in a particular period. Now the question is whether a citizen has a right to make such comments. But before I go to that, let me conclude. Let me go to the conclusion of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court held it tends to give the impression that the highest constitutional court of the country has in the last 6 years played a vital role in the destruction of Indian democracy. Did he say vital role? Where from the vital came? You are assuming as a vital. It is absolutely not correct. Why do you think that he said you played a vital role? Definitely he said Supreme Court has a role in destruction. Role, that's all. role is different from vital role. Or if he has said that Supreme Court destroyed the democracy, perhaps it's a little more serious comment. Even then, it is critical analysis of judgments of a apex authority over a period of time called 6 years. Now, one has to understand the truth or otherwise of this statement. For that, you need research. For that, you have to engage students of law or anybody, political science students or advocates, Bar Council of India, or Indian Bar Association, or All India Lawyers Union, anybody who is interested. They can form a committee, they can look into the judgments of the Supreme Court vis-a-vis democracy of this country, and then can come to a conclusion. And today, even today, this is a scope, and I request the All India Lawyers Union, ILU, to give me a team of 4 advocates who can list out the judgment of 6 years and give the summary, 2-line summary of it to me. And I would like to write a piece explaining whether there is any element of reasonability, element of truth, element of fairness of the comment, element of defamatoriness, defamation character, element of contemptuous character, or hate, whatever it is. Now, yeah, that is what I suggested. That came out of discussion. It is up to you. You can formulate a team of 4 people and give me their inputs. Now, let me take you to duty of an advocate. You are all advocates. A wonderful opportunity you have to interpret law. Now, what is the designation of an advocate? Advocate is called officer of court. Am I right? Officer of court. Why you are an officer of court? You are working for a client who is not officer of court. You are charging the fees, big, low, small. I'm not going into those aspects. You are charging client a fee and you are representing. Why should I consider you as officer of the court? Because you know the law. You are only doing a professional action and you are assisting the court in arriving at a conclusion on the point of view of your client. That's all. Because you are a representative of your client, all the attributes of clients are not attributed to you. Because you are a different person and you are expected to be very objective even though you are representing a lawyer. So you are considered as an officer of court. Whether you are doing it or not is again a different question. I will not go into that. You know better. Because you are all advocates, the way of my presentation or orientation of my talk has been changed. That's why I'm talking about these technical aspects. Now, lawyer is eligible to become a judge because he is officer of court. When he's on this side of the bar, he is an advocate. If he is on the other side of the bar, he is a judge. You call it bench. Now, Supreme Court also has taken lawyers like Rohinton Nariman and L. Nageshwar Rao recently as judges of Supreme Court because of their eminence in practice for more than 10 years. That means what? It's a matter of chance that you should have become a judge of High Court or Supreme Court, depending on the area of your practice. By a chance, Prashant Bhushan could have been a judge of Supreme Court had there been a wavelength, combination of wavelength of mind. So it's a matter of chance he is not a judge. But why don't you respect him? Because he is constantly engaging you, constantly talking about the local issues. I don't have any personal admiration for anybody. I'm talking about his role as an advocate. He's a NGO as a, what is that? NGO, Center for Public Interest Litigation. Even that name was questioned by the Supreme Court. How is that you have put this name, Center for Public Interest Litigation? Do you think that you are the monopolistic office holder of this activity? Was once a judge asked it, and he answered it. So I don't want to go into all those aspects again. So that is the personality. Now, why should he have any impression about the Supreme Court for the last 6 years? Because he is working there. I don't have. I'm a reader outsider and I am an academician. I'll read judgments. Perhaps I may not formulate an opinion, like him because I don't have experience of sitting in court hall. You also must be knowing you will be judging your courts based on your experience, observation, cases, and the reactions that you received, judgments you had in your favor and against you. Then what is your impression? You talk about that impression. So impression of a professional in an office, how can you take it as contempt? So these are all the factual analysis I want to make. Now, I'd like to quote an article of Mr. Iqbal Chagla. He's a senior advocate practicing for the last 55 years. He wrote about his experience in Indian Express yesterday, I think. What he said is, he has to move certain resolutions against 5 sitting judges of Bombay High Court, questioning their integrity and calling for their resignation. You tell me, sir, is there any serious comment than a doubt of casting a doubt on integrity of a judge and asking for his resignation? Is that a serious comment or not? It's a very serious comment. Now, tell me, is it contempt? This is the point we need to understand. Apart from what Satyanarayana was talking as to what are the critical areas of contempt jurisdiction. My question, I'm going a little deeper into that, deeper than what Mr. Satyanarayana has talked about. My question is, suppose I have a complaint against somebody that he is corrupt. What should I do? Should I talk about it? Should I make a representation? Should I put it in a tweet? Should I put it in Facebook? Or where is it I have to take it? This is the question. And if I make a statement today, now, that you have a robust judiciary, fantastic democracy, but you don't have a mechanism to receive the complaints. This is the question. You tell me, where is that? If you are a judge, you are a bar council president, you have a mechanism. You will write a representation, submit it to Chief Justice of India. I am a common man, what is that I have to do? I don't know where to file a complaint. Where is your redressal of grievance mechanism about judiciary available? And do you have any mechanism? Suppose I give you a complaint. If it is worth probing, what is it you do? Nothing. It is left to your discretion. If Chief Justice of India finds, oh, there is something in it, and if he is willing, something will happen. But there is no systemic mechanism to receive it, process it, and follow it up, do something, and record the consequences. Nothing. Now, do you know what is my authority? Can I say this? Yesterday's newspaper, I request you to read. If you have Hindu, read. Supreme Court will hear arguments on the process to make allegations public. Study of context of charges against the judges. This is when I was the commissioner, I received a RTA application, second appeal on RTA application, that is, sir, I have certain complaints against existing Chief Justice of a court and retired Chief Justice of a court. Judge of a court and retired judge of a court. Where should I file a complaint against sitting Chief Justice, against retired Chief Justice? Sitting judge, retired judge. Sitting Chief Justice of India, retired Chief Justice of India. Where should I file? That's all. It's an RTA application. Now, questions cannot be answered under RTA. But is this a question? He's asking about your system. Why did you give that judgment? That is the question. He's not asking that. And Supreme Court rejected it. Office of Supreme Court rejected it. Then it transferred. Said that I have transferred it to Ministry of Law. It went to Ministry of Law. Ministry of Law again transferred it to Supreme Court. Then Supreme Court again transferred it to President of India. Then President of India again transferred it to Ministry of Justice. And Ministry of Justice again sent it to Supreme Court of India, Registrar Supreme Court of India. Now, I was in charge of Ministry of Law and Justice for some time. Then I asked the Ministry of Justice, what did you do? The question is to you. Sir, what you know, sir, in appointment of judges and in removal of judges, we don't have any role. But at least you must have something to do. If a complaint comes to you, what will you do? We don't know, sir. That is the situation. It goes to, I asked the registrar of Supreme Court office representative also. He said, sir, see, how do I know? We don't have any mechanism. Fine, gone. Then President of India, what do I do, sir? They, both of them have to do, not me. This is the situation, reality. I wrote a 50-page document on this issue saying that there must be a mechanism to receive the complaints. What you do, you decide and tell. Nobody is asking you to do that. You decide and tell. There's nothing. So in the absence of a mechanism to receive complaint, what can anybody do? This is my question. Okay, let me conclude the example of Chagla. Chagla says it generated, his resolution generated a lot of heat. One judge resigned, two judges were transferred, and two judges were denied their work, their further judicial work. This is the reality. Now, unless you facilitate a complaint to come up on the charges of corruption or integrity, questioning integrity, how do you look into it? And unless you look into it, how do you cleanse the system? Or if you don't cleanse the system, why should anybody not comment on you? This is the situation. Okay, so this is what happened, and he has another experience that I would like to tell you. As the president of Bar Association of Bombay High Court, he filed a resolution against the sitting Chief Justice of Bombay High Court, calling for his resignation on the grounds of corruption. I'm not interested in giving names. He also did not give name. I don't want names. The resolution was carried. Chief Justice resigned. Tell me what an excellent activity it is. Now nobody questions this, whether Chagla committed contempt of court. Did he question the integrity of the judges? Questioning integrity of judges, questioning integrity of court. Whether it is contempt of court or it is contempt of judge, these are the questions. If you think that it is contempt of judge, the judgment of High Court, Supreme Court might be correct. If you think that it is contempt of court, you have to prove how it has brought down the authority of the court. You have to show how it has obstructed the process of justice. I'll come to that. What exactly is this? Now somebody, Sanjay Hegde, has spoken a very interesting point. He says, in my view, Supreme Court is very strong. Its authority cannot be shaken by 2 tweets. So I don't think that conclusion of the judges is correct. That's what he stated. And now you are using it to silence the speaking personality who is speaking against the power. Then Justice Lodha has touched upon the point which Koli Satyanarayana has pointed out. He said, what is the urgency? Why are you taking it up so urgently? Why are you posting 2 contempt of court cases, one after the other? One after the other. So that is the question. Very interesting question. Our heavens are falling? Heavens are not falling. Why should he be so fast tracked? June 27, June 29, June or July? The tweets. June 27, June 29 tweets, August 14 conviction. So fast. Now, I would like to take you to Section 12 of Contempt of Court Act. I know that Contempt of Court Act is not used by the Supreme Court. It used its own power under its article. Okay, fine. I have no problem. What article says? That article simply says it is court of record with all the power, including power to punish. That's all for its contempt. Okay. Now, if that is the case, court of record means what? Okay. And you have a similar provision for the High Courts of States also. Okay. Now, Constitution records gives a higher regard to the constitutional courts, high courts and Supreme Court. Absolutely no problem. We also have high regard, and I still believe if there is any institution in this country, in this democracy, that could come to the rescue of the people when their rights are violated by the executive and legislature, you don't have any other go, except the violent revolution. So in my view, all violent revolutions, all violent revolutions are stalled by the greatest institution called Supreme Court when it came to the rescue of the people and gave wonderful orders in protection of the people. And I also consider era of public interest litigation as a revolutionary era. Some people are not muted their mics. I think host can mute all the mics except the mic of the speaker. Yes, if that is done, we will not hear those. See, we can't find fault with them also. They are sitting in their home. So there will be some disturbances. So it's better they mute it. Okay. So what I was trying to explain is the constitutional power of punishing the persons who committed contempt of it has to be examined in the context of public function of judiciary, which has invented public interest litigation, and it is a savior. I tell you, it's a great savior of Indian Constitution that happened in 1980s, early 80s, and till today it is continuing. And we have a perfect mechanism of tackling public interest litigation established. But only one problem I see is you must have a scientific, rational mechanism to take the issues depending on the urgency, and there should be some rationale in picking up the cases to hear urgently. That's what I think is important, but very difficult to say what kind of guidelines are needed. So, in the context of your enormous power under constitutional provisions to punish for the contempt, will you ignore Contempt of Courts Act 1971? That is my question. Answer is you cannot. You cannot. Will you ignore the judgments of the Supreme Court which interpreted provisions of Contempt of Court Act along with the power that is to be exercised under constitutional provisions? Can you ignore? See, the very point, once somebody complained, some Maheshwari filed a complaint against Prashant Bhushan, and that was converted into a suo motu petition. My question is, when it is already there, complaint form is there before you, why should it, where is the need and what was the purpose behind converting a Contempt of Court Act complaint into Constitution complaint? Why? Because you want to skip off the procedural aspects of available under Contempt of Court and perhaps take it on your own. That means you can avoid Attorney General's presence, you can avoid the consent of a state, or maybe all this. But in my view, why should we not take the view of Attorney General also in this case? Why it was not done? It was not done. It was not done because Supreme Court can say that. It has all the power. Then my point is again this: if you have all the power, I am talking about constitutionalism. If you have all the power, where is the restriction? Which is the restriction? Restriction is freedom of speech and expression. And why are you punishing it? Yeah, this is the question. The question. It is not a thin line, sir. It is a contracting. What is that? Conflicting difference. It's a major contradiction, which is a major contradistinction. When I say contradistinction, they are two separate. I'm not committing any contempt, like sedition. I say this policy is wrong. The government union is dividing the country by CAA. Somebody made a comment. I made a comment, let us say. CAA will divide the country and I want country to be united. Did I commit a rebellion, armed rebellion against the state? Or did I infuse hatredness against the state? I must have spread hatredness, in worst cases, hatredness against the government, but not against the state. State is government. State is A big organization, including government, and government is separate, which is only for 5 years, and I am questioning it only on one decision. That's all. And similarly, whether the comment made by Prashant Bhushan in these two cases, is it criticism? Is it spreading of hatredness? Is it contempt? What is contempt? Contempt is not just hatredness. Defamation is not hatredness. Contempt is defined in two ways under Contempt of Courts Act. And I think you know civil contempt and criminal contempt. In civil contempt, there are two aspects. You have defied the order of the court. You deserve to be punished. You have made an undertaking before the court of law, but you did not adhere to what you promised to the court of law. Whatever you tell the court of law, you will do it in the form of a sworn affidavit. Praman शपथ पत्र है, शपथ पत्र सबमिट करते आया है ना. When एक काम शपथ करके एक काम करने के लिए आप शपथ लिया, फिर वो काम नहीं किया, आप क्या होगा इससे? That means you have no respect for the judiciary. You must be punished. There is no way. So I am all for the powers of contempt of court, either under act or under constitutional arena, only for enforcement of rights and enforcement of undertakings, nothing more than that. And of course, I can extend it to, I hope you remember Vepa Parthasarathi, one of the great lawyers of our country, and my colleague, teacher of Nalsar University of Law. He taught until the age of 92 and died. He took last class 3 days ago and he died after 3 days. Such a wonderful teacher he was. He wrote a very good book on judicial interpretation of statutes. I suggest all of you to read it. You generally read some book written by judge. It's also good, but this book is an authority. You try to read interpretation of statutes by Vepa Parthasarathi. It gives you a wonderful vision how to interpret a particular piece of sentence in a statute. You will get a wonderful idea. Okay. There he talked about contempt of court and says, contempt of court on the face of it has to be covered. That means what? Somebody comes into the court of law, you pronounce a judgment, and he abuses you, accuses you, throws a chappal at you, or he misbehaves. Yes, send him to jail or give an appropriate punishment. So contempt of court can extend to a misbehavior on the face of it directly. Every other aspect is interference indirectly. Now, if it is interference, in my view, indirect interference is no interference. So now what is the conclusion of the court here? It has lowered the authority of the court. It has interfered with the process of judiciary because he commented against the entire court, four chief justices of India, and functioning of a court over a period of 6 years. That means there is nothing personal in it. Go by your statement, it is against court. It is about court, not against court. It is about court. It's a review of the performance of a court. Suppose you ask me, you write 1 year of performance of Supreme Court 2019-20. I write it gave 4 very good judgments and 4 judgments are not in tune with the Constitution. Perhaps it is wrong. And today's judgment, look at the today's judgment. It says as PM case fund need not be audited by CAG. In my view, Prashant Bhushan's statement, if he wants to support it with another fact, he has one more point today with this judgment. Why it should not be accountable? My question. You are taking crores of rupees, thousands of crores of rupees, more than 3,000 crores of rupees reached the Prime Minister's office, PM case fund. Fine, I appreciate it. I have no objection. But why should I not know who paid it? Where should it go? And whether it was spent for an appropriate purpose or not. Why should it not be audited? Why should it should not be revealed? Simple question. Which law stops it? And which law you invented to stop it? I don't know. And it's worth questioning. I'm questioning it. But I'm only questioning a judgment on its merits and nothing to do with the judges. I respect the judges. They formed this opinion. Okay, what to do? Unfortunate. The only thing I can say is unfortunate. So whether an institution called PM Cares Fund is a democratic institution, supposed to be, whether when you allowed it not to be audited, and it need not be audited, when you say it need not be audited, then are you not reducing its power, democratic character? Then is it not destruction? That is the question. So, okay, let me take you to section 12 of Contempt of Court Act. It says, save or as otherwise expressly provided in this act, in any other law, a contempt of court may be punished. That means huge discretion. Punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months. That means up to 6 months, not maximum, not every time 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 2,000 rupees. In my view, this 2,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees must have been increased to 2 lakh rupees up to, and then this imprisonment should have been removed at least. That's what a milder dose of contempt of court suggestion I could like to make. Okay, now provided that there is a proviso, very interesting proviso. Provided that the accused may be discharged or the punishment awarded may be remitted on apology being made to the satisfaction of the court. Satisfaction is the problematic expression. Satisfaction means yes, unless the court satisfies, it doesn't operate as a defense. So apology is suggested to be a defense, but rejected to be a defense because it is totally depends upon the satisfaction of the court. Again, huge discretion is given to the judge, absolute discretion rather. If you say apology is okay, yes, okay. If you say no, I'm not satisfied, it is not okay. This is the problem. You know, I'm sorry to quote this. One Chief Justice of India, while he was in office, there was a serious allegation of sexual harassment against him. And then one of the narrations show that she was asked to, that victim and the relatives of the victims were asked to apologize to her by rubbing their nose on the floor and touching the feet of them. They did it, but it was not satisfactory to them. They are not satisfied. They asked for it, they gave it, but they are not satisfied. So what is the satisfaction of the court? What kind of a satisfaction? How do I satisfy? Where is the mechanism for examining the measure of satisfaction? This is the problem. Now, in a democratic world, in a rule of law society, can you accord so much of discretion to the authorities? So much of discretion. I'm not satisfied with your apology, go to jail for 6 months. Can you say so? This is the question. Then look at the explanation. See, these are the limitations on power of contempt of court. These are the limitations. I still say there are certain limitations in Contempt of Court Act which are supposed to be taken into account. An apology shall not be rejected. Look at the language. In the proviso, it says accused may be discharged. In main section, it says may be punished. In explanation, it says an apology shall not be rejected, merely on the ground that it is qualified or conditional if the accused makes it bona fide. Now again, who has to consider it as a bona fide? Court. Now my point is, you may all say, if you are a lawyer on this side, you will argue on satisfaction. If you are a lawyer on that side, shall not be rejected. It depends. It is your power of argument. But why the court has incorporated these kinds of contradictory, conflicting sentences only to balance your power. It is not depriving you your power to punish the contempt. Again, it is also not trying to deprive the right of the person to speak and then apologize. So it is trying to balance it. And why not we do that? Why not we understand? Then you look at this. Do you know what is the role of preamble? The role of preamble is a tool of interpretation. So when you get a doubt, so now you get a doubt whether we should allow the the court to have its own way in getting satisfied about the apology, or shall we say it has to be accepted? Which one is correct? Then you have to look to the preamble of the Constitution. What is the preamble of the Constitution? Liberty of thought, liberty of expression, liberty of worship, liberty of faith, liberty of belief. That is important, not your contempt power. The entire constitutionalism is a restriction on absolute power of the state, absolute power of President of India, absolute power of Prime Minister of India, absolute power of Chief Justice of India, absolute power of Chief of Indian Army, absolute power of Sub-Inspector of Police, absolute power of anybody else whom you think. They were given absolute power, but I was given the right to criticize you. That is very important. Unless I do this, things will not happen. Take the example of Iqbal Chagla. He got 6 judges terminated without making any halagula, but by making effective representation. That's the best example I can quote. So this is what is stated. You must take the apology. Now my question is, will you take the apology of the judges of Prashant Bhushan? Will you or will you not? This is the question. Now let me take you to definition of contempt. You know it, but still, because I have to make an emphasis on the civil contempt means willful disobedience. Willful disobedience. Civil contempt is not a crime, but yet intention is important. In crime, intention is important. More important, mens rea, you all know basics of law. So here, though in civil wrong, intention is immaterial, it is relevant. I say, what is the difference between immaterial and relevant? It is immaterial, but relevant. Why? I have to quantify the damages. If you have deliberately done it, damages will increase. If not, it will decrease. So that is the relevance of intention, mental element. But here it is requirement. It is not relevance. It is material. Willfulness is material in disobedience to any judgment, decree, direction, order, writ, or other process of court, or willful breach of an undertaking. This is enough. Willful breach of undertaking. Yes, take it. Kalyan Singh is the example. Willful breach of undertaking given to the Supreme Court of India that he will not allow anybody to destroy the Babri Masjid. But he was there, present, and did it. Okay, that's a different question. I'm only giving an example. Then criminal contempt is the problem. It means the publication, whether by words spoken or written, or by signs or by visible representation. I'll get a glass of water. Visible representation or otherwise. You look at the greatness of the law writers. They took into account the otherwise. Otherwise means Twitter, Facebook, and all other kinds of social media expressions. Of any matter or the doing of any other act whatsoever. This is again, look at this, whatsoever, any other act whatsoever. What do you mean by it? Drawing a cartoon. Yesterday, the Hindu published a very good cartoon. Supreme Court is pointing out this thing. Can you see it? Pointing out like this. Pointing out finger, and 3 fingers are pointing out you. You are pointing out 1 finger to him. Very excellent comment on judgment of contempt of court. And my question is that cartoon a contempt? It is up to the satisfaction of the court. If court wants to punish, it can. It can. They're writing all this. Okay, I think I'm taking too much of time. Can you tell me where should I stop?
No problem, sir. You may continue, please.
No, it is, you don't have a problem, but what about others?
Others also. There is no problem at all. They will be here.
How do you know?
So we are prepared like that.
Oh, okay.
Sir, from Karnataka, we have no objection. It can come.
Yeah. Now look at this. Which the expression which scandalizes or tends to scandalize. Now, first of all, what is scandalization? No definition, no guidelines. It's a most ambiguous statement. most ambiguous expression. And then look at that. Somewhere you will conclude that yeah, he has already scandalized. Baba, इतना बड़ी बात नहीं कहना चाहिए. ये बहुत निंदा किया उन्होंने. ठीक बात नहीं. तो समझ सकता हूँ. Then what is this? Tends to scandalize. Scandalize is a past act. Tends to scandalize is future tense. That means a comment I made today, it might have a tendency, not even might cause, have a tendency. That means I don't know how to define this tendency. Tends to scandalize. Are lawyers or tends to lawyer the authority? Prejudices or interferes or tends to interfere with. Interferes or tends to interfere with, or obstructs or tends to obstruct the administration of justice in any other manner. Nobody can escape. If this definition is allowed to survive like this, and I say all the entire community of lawyers have done great injustice to this country by not advocating against this all open, wide open, all possible. Everybody in the country can be sentenced to jail, and you have to construct jails in this country, nothing else. No schools, no educational institutions, no temples, jails. Chalo, construct jails, bhejo sab logon ko jail. That is the definition. Can anybody survive with this kind of law? It is better you say, if you don't like him, you send him to jail. That would have been a better interpretation. I would have requested, touched his feet, sir, please like me, don't dislike me. Love me, I love you. Don't send me to jail. So this is what I feel. So I'd like to tell you one more point. Ambiguity is the source of authority. Ambiguity. I leave expressions ambiguous. So I am retaining authority. Because I interpret according to my own interpretation. This is the problem with this ambiguous. You know that I'll give you another point, and don't take offensive, but I'll tell you. When a rich man writes a intestate document, that is will, in ambiguous expressions, the real successors to the wealth are the lawyers. It's a satiric comment. That means if a rich man writes an ambiguous will, that lawyer will be interpreting in favor of one son. This lawyer will be interpreting in favor of this son. And both will go up to Supreme Court. And who is benefited, sir? Who is really succeeds the wealth of the rich man? Not the sons, the lawyers. So ambiguity is the source of trouble. Ambiguity is the source of authority. Ambiguity is the source of corruption. Why? Wherever there is a huge authority, discretionary authority, there is scope for the corruption. This is what is the problem with these ambiguous expressions. Okay, now let me take you to criminality of the criticism. I explained you. Now what is that the person who is accused has to do? Section 13 says, section 13 is a very, very important section. I already explained you section 12, but let me take you to section 13. Do you have section 13 with you? Okay, I don't, section 13 says, very important section, sir, please note. Even if contempt is proved, that means you have proved the contempt. Section 12 is about sentence, section 13 about this statement. Very important in my view. Even if contempt is proved, he cannot be sentenced. Cannot be. It is not, may not be. He cannot be sentenced unless his comment has obstructed or interfered with the administration of justice. Now, you apply this sentence to Prashant Bhushan's comments. Twitter dated June, say 27, Twitter dated June 29. What way it obstructed your process here? Why are you getting feeling that it is obstructing you? Now, do you know what is the, did you read the judgment of Supreme Court in this case? Luckily, the judgments are available now to all because of information communication technology. Otherwise, it's again a secret property of authorities. Do you know what it says? It is questioning the integrity of the judge. And questioning integrity of the judge is defamatory. And defamatory is hatredness. And hatredness is contempt of court. And not only that, contempt, after contempt also you have to say something. What is that you have to say? It is interfering with the administration of justice. How is interfering? It is obstructing. They say all this. Now, how does anybody agree? How can anybody agree with your observations? That's all. It's an observation. It's an opinion. In my opinion, he has committed murder, so I'll hang him. Can you? It appears he has committed murder. I'll hang him. Can you? Now, can you say that tweets have obstructed? Come on, prove that tweets have obstructed. Come on, prove. This is the point. Now, section 13 says even if contempt is proved, he cannot be sentenced unless his comment has obstructed or interfered with the administration of justice. Criminalizes tendency to substantially interfere here also. So, okay, well, this is the problem with this law. And now let me take you to another very interesting aspect of the law. Let me be technical on this. I wanted to talk about some safeguards created by the Constitution against the terrible authority, absolute authority of the courts to punish people for contempt of court. Now, first I want to quote Article 51A(h). It talks about fundamental duties, and one duty is every person has a duty to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. Now, I am saying Prashant Bhushan has performed his fundamental duty under 51A(h) when he raised an inquiry, when he tried to develop the scientific temper in understanding the judgments of the Supreme Court for the last 6 years. He raised an inquiry, and his intention is, it is with spirit of inquiry and spirit of reform. Am I not correct? Is it not a safeguard against the punishment that threatening me, my speech of freedom of speech and expression? Answer is yes. Then the second is 19(1)(a), fundamental right. First I talked about duties because people say you always talk about rights, not duties. So first I talked about duty, and then I am coming to 19(1)(a). Every citizen has a right to freedom of speech and expression subject to reasonable restrictions by law. Reasonable restriction is by law, not by your interpretation. And what is that law? Not by executive, not by courts. Courts cannot invent new reasonable restrictions on freedom of speech and expression. Okay, I agree. Contempt of court is prescribed as a ground under 19(2). That is contempt of court. Now, please understand, what is the meaning of including contempt of court in Article 19(2). What is the meaning? Meaning is, on contempt of court, you can make a law to impose a reasonable restriction. My point is, advocates should have argued all these years is this: okay, contempt of court is a ground, you made a law, Contempt of Court Act 1971, but you are not following in when you are exercising your authority under constitutional power to punish contempt of court. It's a problem. You don't have any such power. I don't say that you have that power. I'll say that you don't have that power. Now, what is it you have to do? You have to depend on Contempt of Court Act. Now, whether Contempt of Court Act has given a reasonable ground, your technical points are fulfilled. It's a restriction imposed by law. Law is passed by the Parliament, and so Article 19(2) is fulfilled. Now, question is reasonableness. Now, who has to say that your restriction is reasonable? Supreme Court has to say, or judiciary has to say. That means what? I have a doubt. And I am telling you, whenever there is an ambiguous statement in Contempt of Court Act, it imposes unreasonable restriction. It's an argument. I am making an argument. Come on, counter it, take it up to Supreme Court. And in my view, I am correct. It is not reasonable restriction. It is unreasonable to say that it is left to the satisfaction. Excessive delegation of authority by state to judiciary should not have given so much of power. Not correct. Okay, well, that is one point on 19(1)(a). Then go to Contempt of Court Act Section 5. Have you ever read Section 5? You must read it. It says fire criticism of judicial act is not contempt. Very candid statement. A person shall not be guilty of contempt of court. Look at, shall not be guilty of contempt of court for publishing any fair comment on the merits of any case which has been heard and finally decided. Tell me, sir, greatest luminaries are there listening to me today, advocates from different states. Tell me whether it is a comment on the merits of the case or on the person, Prashant Bhushan's 2 tweets. It is not just on merit of one case, but it is on merits of several cases over a period of 6 years by Supreme Court, headed by 4 Chief Justices of India. What did he say? It will mark the role of Chief Justices of India. It did not say they destroyed it. The executive is going on destroying the democracy. What is your role? It will be stated there. He didn't say anything. He didn't say positive, negative. And you are reading everything. In Telugu, oka sameta unnadi Telugulo. Telugu desina valaki gummadikaya donga ante bhujalu dadukunnata. Gummadikaya donga ante evaru bhujalu dadukuntaru? Em cheppalsina panle. See, I will. I don't know how to translate this for other non-Telugu friends, but let me try. See, if somebody accused that this fellow has stolen that pumpkin, A has stolen, somebody has stolen some pumpkin, then a person who might have done, he's looking at his shoulders, whether there is anything stick on his shoulder, so that it is proved that he has stolen the pumpkin. You are doing it. He didn't say. He didn't say who stole the pumpkin. You are touching your shoulders. You are verifying your shoulders. That is the statement of, that's a wonderful idiom in Telugu. Okay. So you have a right to make a fair comment on merits of any case, which is recognized in specific form under Contempt of Court Act 1971, which has to be balanced with Section 12 to Section 13 and Section 2, where the contempt of court is defined. And if you ignore Section 5, it's absolutely not correct. Then Section 12, prescribed punishment, I talked about apology, effect of apology. And then I also talked about another safeguard, that is substantial interference. And then another point I would like to make is, 6th safeguard is justification by truth. Now, you know that there is an amendment of Contempt of Court Act in 2006, where justification by truth as a valid defense has been introduced. Now, truth of this statement. What is the truth of this statement? He says he has rode on a bike. Truth. He was not wearing mask. Truth. He is not wearing helmet. Truth. He did not, what is that? Supreme Court did not hear the human rights cases, fundamental rights cases. Truth. Because of lockdown. Truth. When everything is, every aspect of the sentence is truth, how is that you say that it is not justified by the truth? Okay. One restriction on this justification is public interest. You must have stated in public interest. Tell me, can anybody tell that these comments are not in public interest? Can anybody tell that? Nobody can tell. Then one more point I would like to say, 13, please make a note. This is Section 13B, very interesting section. The court may permit in any proceeding for contempt of court justification by truth as a valid defense if it is satisfied that it is in public interest and the request for invoking the said defense is bona fide. Why you are doubting? I want to retain again some more power to tell that it is bona fide. I have to convince that it is bona fide. And then public interest. 2 open, wide expressions. Public interest. You can say, no, it is not in public interest. I'll say, no, it is in public interest. Kaise decide karte hai aap? Kaise decide karte? So, public interest, bona fide public interest is an additional qualification for truth, and truth is justification. That means defense. Justification means defense. You know, do you remember section 499 Indian Penal Code, which talks about criminal defamation? Exception 1, did you read any time? My request is to read section defense 1. Defense 1 is justification by truth in public interest. My question is, when it is truth, why do you make it partial? Why should I also add public interest? You call yourself country of Satyameva Jayate, slogan of your country, motto of your country. What is my country rather? Motto of my country, Satyameva Jayate. Do you know what is the meaning of Satyameva Jayate? Satyam Eva Jayate. That means only truth will triumph. But here, if my truth, if I don't establish as in public justice in a bona fide way, I'll go to jail. Where is triumph for the truth? In criminal defamation also, I say truth. But you say I did not say it in public interest and send me to jail. These two provisions, I tell you, are in breach of your motto, Satyameva Jayate. In fact, before 2006, even this partial defense was not available. Soli Sorabji is the person who said it. Satyameva Jayate is our motto. It will be shameful if you don't include this defense. And it was included luckily by government in 2006. Fine. Okay. Now, there is one more exception to section 499 Indian Penal Code, criminal defamation section, exception 5. Do you know what it says? Merits of case decided in court or conduct of witness and others concerned. If you make it, it's not defamation. So I am disputing the conclusion of the Supreme Court that what Prashant Bhushan has said is a defamation. No. Under exception 5 and exception 1, it is not defamation. When it is not defamation, how can you equate it with hatredness? How can you equate it with contempt? How can you equate it with obstruction to process of justice? How? You collapse, your argument collapses. Okay. Now, ultimately, what is that we are doing is, we have a contempt for criticism. It is not contempt of court. It is contempt of criticism, contempt of voice, contempt of not towing the line of the power, contempt for the persons who are speaking to power, who are telling truth to the power. You have contempt for them. This is not what Constitution wanted. Article 19(1)(a) has to survive. And if you want Article 19(1)(a) to survive, Contempt of Court Act in this manner should not remain. You have to amend it drastically. And in my view, please do that. Please fight for it. And before I conclude, I'd like to give an example of the case. See, in 1987, Guardian newspaper in London has published one criticism of judgment in Spycatcher case. I'll not go into the details of the case. The case decision was not accepted, criticized by the journalists. Do you know what they did? They published a photograph of two judges upside down. Upside down. Never happened in India. You know upside down? Upside down. Head is downside and body is upside. ऐसा दो फोटोग्राफ उल्टा पब्लिश करे. करने के बाद इसके पीछे लिखे "You fools," and then underline they said, "The old fools have done it again." Old fools have done it again. You fools is the heading. Published. Tabloid. You know tabloid? A sensational newspaper. Tabloid. Published. The newspaper's name is something, I forgot the name of the newspaper. Then the people went and approached the judges, two judges, Lord Templeman and another person. They said, "Why don't you take it up as a contempt of court?" Then the judge, you know what judge said? "Why should I? Why should I?" No, they call you fools. They call you fools. You have done it again. Then what is there in it? He said, "We have done it again." Yeah, we have done it again. We gave again judgment. Sir, what is this? They are saying that you are a fool. Then he says, "What do you mean by fool? Can anybody in this August gathering define what the fool means? Is it తెలుగులో అయితే తెలివి తక్కువని ఫూల్ అంటాం మనం. వాడు తెలివి తక్కువ వాడు ఫూల్ అంటాం. తెలివి తక్కువ అంటే ఎంత అయితే తక్కువనండి తెలివి? 1 టన్ను ఉండాలా తెలివి? 2 టన్నులు ఉండాలా? ఎంత ఉండాలి తెలివి మనిషి అనేవాడికి? కామన్ సెన్స్ ఉండాలా? సో వాట్ ఈస్ ఫూలిష్నెస్? It is not having complete intelligence or not having knowledge. What do you mean by foolishness? So if I'm having less intelligence, how much is less and how much is more? How much is less? How much less is the knowledge and how much more should be the knowledge? This is the question. Then he said, it's an opinion. He says, he thinks I am a fool, but you consider perhaps I'm a wise man. So somebody praises me as a wise man, somebody calls me a fool. What do I do? Okay, that's also gone. Then, sir, but what do you say? For upside down publication of 2 photographs. Then he said, come on, give the newspaper. Give the newspaper. I will read like this. Okay. So this is how you have to tolerate the criticism. Do you know, you may be feeling that I'm simply giving an anecdote. Folly S. Norman went to London. He met Lord Templeman, one of the judges who gave this judgment, who reacted like this. He asked again, why did you not take it as a contempt? He explained again all this. And he somewhere stated it. It was quoted by Justice Markandeya Kadju. I know this story, but I was looking for an authentic quotation. It was stated by Markandeya Kadju. So what is to be decided is, how is that you are reacting to or responding to criticism? In my view, Supreme Court should have given a detailed statement in response to Prashant Bhushan's tweet. Tweet number 1, he need not wear mask because it is inside the house. He need not wear helmet because it is not moving. And you have not noticed that there is a stand for the motor vehicle, which you have not noticed. You should have not noticed it. So he is not owning the vehicle, or he is not being gifted the vehicle. He just sat for the sake of sitting, that's all. Nothing that he has done. So there is no violation of law. You have unnecessarily commented on it. I condemn it. You should not have done it. Fine. That is one statement. Second, you stated that we kept pending several cases. Yeah, it is a universal crisis, pandemic. What do I do? The whole world is suffering. If I come and hear the cases, I would have caused a spread of virus and people would not do it. So I'm not doing it. And then, did I keep quiet? No. I heard the 879 petitions. You also appeared. Say all that, which you have stated in your judgment. Say all that. 2 statements from the Registrar Office of Supreme Court would have solved the problem. Then go to the second statement. Supreme Court, the role of Supreme Court will be marked by the history for the last 6 years, especially for the role of 4 CGIs. Okay. You count, you have a fantastic department, you have a library, you have people sitting in library, you have law clerks, law college students, law school students are assisting you. You ask one student to pick up those judgments in 6 years, which upheld democratic institutions by you, and say, this is what you have stated is not correct. This is correct. We saved the Constitution. We saved the democracy. We saved the people's right to expression. We are the great champions. You should have told that. That would have been a sufficient answer to Prashant Bhushan. Instead, what are you doing? It is not even a defamation. You are considering it as a defamation. It is not hatredness. You are considering it as hatredness. It is not abstraction. You are considering it as abstraction. It is not contempt. You are saying it is contempt. You are saying it is criminal contempt. You want, I don't know what kind of a punishment you are going to give. So your conclusion that he has committed, is guilty of contempt of court is not correct. Finally, I'll give you another very interesting legal point. I don't know, I must be taking a lot of time, but let me conclude with this important legal point. There are 2 cases, Namboodiripad and Shivashankar. Namboodiripad, first communist chief minister of Kerala. He attributed class bias to Supreme Court. All rich persons, jamindaris, mathadipatis will gain heaven. It's a heaven for those, the Supreme Court is a heaven for those rich people, jamindars. Poor people do not have any place in Supreme Court. This is what he stated. Then he was charged with contempt of court. Kerala High Court 2-1 majority decided that it is contempt. Matthews was the judge who said, no, it is not a comment. It's a comment. It's a fair comment. There is nothing wrong in it. Then if you really analyze the judgments of Supreme Court, you will come to a conclusion that it was giving judgment against the poor. That is one of the judgments. Because two judges opined similarly, he was convicted. He filed an appeal to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court gave a judgment that he has committed contempt of court. Unfortunate. And he was fined with 2,000 rupees by Kerala High Court. The Supreme Court was very kind, so nice of Supreme Court, it reduced it to rupees 50. It's a nominal cost, but it gave a very, very strong judgment saying that it is contempt of court. Then in 1987 came, the first judgment is in 1960. In 1987 came the judgment of Shiv Shankar. You know Shiv Shankar? P. Shiv Shankar is hailing from Andhra Pradesh. All my colleagues from Andhra and Telangana will be knowing him. He's one of the luminaries of law. He is a very close friend of, advocate of Indira Gandhi during emergency time. He was judge of Andhra Pradesh High Court. He resigned and entered politics, became law minister at the center. So he is the only person who has wonderful experience as legislator, executive authority, and the judge. After Krishna Iyer. Krishna Iyer is the first person who has experience in 3 estates. Next is Shiv Shankar. Maybe somebody else, but as far as my knowledge goes, these are the personalities. And he spoke in Hyderabad Bar Association. Most of you, perhaps if anybody is there, may be remembering it. And he made a very scathing attack against the Supreme Court. He said it is rendezvous, heaven for smugglers, bootlickers, mafias. It supports only rich fellows. It doesn't help BCs, SCs, STs. Total class bias towards rich fellows. Smugglers enjoy the justice, not the poor fellows. Very, very serious comment against Supreme Court. And Duda is the person who filed an who filed a contempt of court petition before Supreme Court. He was Union Law Minister. Supreme Court considered everything and said there is no obstruction to justice. There is no attribution of any illegality to any judge. There is no comment against the individual judge. It's an overall review and view of a eminent personality. It is not contempt. 1987 judgment was ruling. Supreme Court quotes 1953 judgment and concludes he is convicted. My question is, there is one article in Constitution, Article 20, within brackets 1, class 1. What does it say? You cannot criminalize their conduct without declaring it as an offense in advance. So in my view, 1987 judgment of Supreme Court, which is law of the land, says such a criticism is not crime. Instead, in fact, there is a declaration that it is not a crime. And instead of following 1987 law, you have created a new law post the comment and an ex post facto law. By ex post facto law, you cannot punish for Prashant Bhushan. If you consider Shiv Shankar judgment as valid law, precedent, you cannot punish Prashant Bhushan. Because of your statement today, conviction, even if you are convicted, you cannot punish him today. You cannot. Because of Article 20, Subarticle 1. Article 20, Subarticle 1 is a fundamental right. You cannot deprive it. It is fundamental principle of criminal justice. And you have to look into the intention, mens rea, you have not done it. So I think I must have given ample number of points to show how it is not legal. Thank you very much for your wonderful patience. You heard me for more than 1.5 hours, perhaps, and thank you for that. And I'll conclude this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We are very much thankful to legal luminary, we can say, Margolche Sridhar garu. This topic
Thank you very much, sir.
So, sir enlightened us on several multifaceted views. Moreover, Sri S. Shankarappa Garu, President, Karnataka Idu State Unit, and Sri K. Kodeswara Garu, Member, Bar Council of Karnataka, Sri P. Guru Prasad Garu, Senior Advocate, Anantapuram, Sri Shroma Shekhar Garu, Sri Kolli Satyanarayan Garu, Member, Bar Council of Telangana State, and General Secretary, Ailu, Telangana Unit, Sri G. Vidyasagar Garu, President, Ailu, Telangana State, Sri Y. Nagireddy Garu, Member, Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Shikhar Garu, Member, Bar Council of Assam, Sri Ramachandra Reddy Garu, Convener, All India Lawyers Union, South Zonal State, and also many of the professors joined with us. And not only the professors, several advocates from various parts of the country also joined. Why? Because we placed this information in various groups of national groups, and some people from Delhi also joined with us. And we informed the same to Prashant Bhushan and Christian Dave, who deal with this case in Supreme Court of India. He conveyed best wishes for us for conducting this webinar. And moreover, and this video is entirely recorded, and we will place the same short period in the YouTube for the convenience of all, and for enlightening all the advocates and the general public also. Now may I request Sri G. Vidyasagar Garu to take 2 minutes. Sri G. Vidyasagar Garu.
శ్రీనివాస్ అందరిని మ్యూట్ చేయమ్మ దాంట్లో.
So please, all of you, please mute. You can speak 1 or 2 minutes. If you want to speak, you may please put your message by way of chat. We can invite you also to speak. Up to that stage, you please mute yourself. So now I request Sri Ramachandra Reddy Garu, Convener, South Zone, All India Lawyers Union, Karnataka, hails from Karnataka. Please speak for 2 minutes. Sri Ramachandra Reddy Garu. So may I request now Shri Shankarappa Garu, please speak for 2 minutes. Shankarappa Garu.
Sir, it is a wonderful, enlightened class to all the advocates in India. And really, we have to thankful for your class and for 1.5 hours. And really, we have been amazing your speech, your knowledge, and you have explained the contempt of court, how it is worthwhile for listening the class, and we want to, this has to be carried by all advocates community at large. Thank you, sir.
So now may I request Sri Sigdar Garu, Sigdar Garu, member Assam State Bar Council. Sri Sigdar Garu, please. May I request Sri Sigdar Garu? So now I am calling Sri K. Kodeswara Garu, Vice President, Karnataka State Unit, Ailu, Member, Bar Council of Karnataka State. May I request you, sir, to please to speak 2 minutes. K. Kodeswara Garu.
President has already spoken.
Yeah, you also. Just for introduction also, please.
It is a wonderful experience for us. Really wonderful knowledge has enlightened all the advocates who are attended this function, this online seminar. Thank you, sir.
So now may I request Sri Guru Prasad Garu, Senior Advocate from Anantapuram. Guru Prasad Garu.
Sir, Sridhar Garu, as a layman, I want to put you one question, sir. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You please proceed, sir. We are hearing you.
Sir, as a layman, I will put it to you. Did you not find any
Uh,
distinction between the contempt of court and 499 in the IPC and also under the constitutional provision? In my opinion, there is a marked difference between the contempt of court and 299 and the provision in the constitution which gives unfettered power for the court of record if it feels that, as you have explained, to that extent. And the statement, I'm not supporting the Supreme Court, but at the same time, I'm also not in a position to support Prashant Bhushan for the reason it's not a fair comment. So the four judges during the period of 6 years might have rendered many judgments, as you have said, that protecting the rights of the citizens as envisaged or enshrined in the Constitution of India. But a general and vague omnibus allegation that all the judgments, as a layman, I was under an impression that all the four chief justices, which includes the Supreme Court, and I don't think there is a distinction between a court and a judge, and both words are used synonymous in among the literary fraternity. So does it not throw the discomfort of every citizen, including an advocate, with respect to the functioning of the Supreme Court in all the matters? I don't want to say there is corruption, and to some extent about 30 to 35%, unfortunately, still nobody is in a position to suggest an alternative than the existing court system. So under those circumstances, is it open to an advocate to rope in the whole tenure of the judges with respect to all the cases decided
Yes,
by
sir.
the
Sir will respond.
Against-
Sir will respond to your
Yes.
question, sir. Sir, Sridhar garu.
You know, are you an advocate?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
You are an advocate, Guru Prasad.
yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A senior advocate in Anantapur.
Okay, okay. Then I have nothing to answer you. You can have your own opinion in your own way. See, you are saying on one point I'd like to make a clarification. You are saying there may be judgments which support the democratic institutions, Supreme Court. This is the point I am trying to. Without inquiring into how many judgments supported democracy, how many did not. How can you hold somebody guilty? And you are, as a common man, you are talking about perception. But as a lawyer, why are you not examining the issues which I have presented before you? Why are you not considering them? Why? How can you ignore? These are all legal issues established over a period of time. And at least you made a corruption charge now. While talking now, you said 35 to 40% judges are corrupt. You have committed contempt of court.
I don't say
not
35
Prashant
to
Bhushan.
40.
No,
Corruption
listen
is-
to me. Listen to you, and I am telling you. Prashant Bhushan talked about democracy and obstruction to our anti-democratic judgments. He said he did not say corruption. Corruption, he said at a different point. But when you are convicting somebody these two tweets, where is the unfairness in the comment? So I should not talk about the judgment. I should not say so a particular judgment is not a correct judgment. I should not. So what kind of a common man, what kind of an advocate can
particular
suggest that
judgment,
it's a crime?
you-
Absolutely
Sir.
wrong, sir. I cannot agree with you. You
Yes,
are
sir.
totally
Yes,
wrong.
sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely
Other
wrong.
participants, sir. Guru Prasad garu, we will discuss
Commenting on
later.
a
But
particular
the thing is,
judgment may amount to fair criticism, but not to rope in all the judges for all the acts done by the Supreme Court within a particular time continuum is again
Cannot means
something
what?
it
Cannot
looks
means
absurd.
what? Yeah, Mr. Guru Prasad, cannot means what? What do you mean by cannot? So I say
We should
four
have-
chief ministers did not rule properly. Am I wrong?
Yes,
Even if
it's
I am
ruling
not
pro-
correct on
it's
facts,
not-
I did not defame.
It's
Guru Prasad
You
garu,
are
not
absolutely
ruling
wrong,
properly.
Mr. Guru Prasad. You
Guru
have
Prasad garu.
not understood my
Please,
talk.
please.
You have
Sir.
not understood
1
law.
minute, 1 minute.
I-
You
I have
you are
carefully
biased.
followed-
That's all.
1 minute, sir. Guru Prasad garu,
I am
please,
not
please,
biased.
kindly.
I have carefully
The
followed
other
you.
participants
And
are
the
there. They want to
decision-
pose some questions, please. Please, sir. Guru Prasad garu. We will
You are absolutely wrong, sir.
discuss the thing,
Unfortunately,
but the thing is,
you are not
the purpose is different
understanding
way.
of law.
So now I request Sri D. Vidyasagar garu. Vidyasagar garu. Shikhar garu. Shikhar, member Assam Bar Council. Shikhar ji. Nagireddy garu. Sri Y Nagiredi garu, Member Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh.
Yes, I am very thankful to Sridhar Garu for enlightening me and all the advocates who participated to express our solidarity to the cause. In fact, we have been enlightened a lot through your speech. You are not only an academician and also jurist. In fact, now all the advocates should express their solidarity to the cause. In fact, we had to see the judgment in deep manner. Yes, earlier there is a precedent for us that Shivashankar judgment. But unless they reverse that Shivashankar judgment, overrule that Shivashankar judgment, they cannot punish. I am also agreeing with Sridhar Gari opinion. I am very thankful to Sridhar Garu and also for organizing this. And it is the time to express our solidarity to the cause. I am very thankful to you for organizing this.
So now I request Sri D. Suresh garu, IAPL State Leader. May I request the Suresh garu, IAPL State Leader. May I request Sri.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yeah, sir.
First of all, thanks for the organizers, and thereafter the 1.5 lecture by Madabar Sridhar Garu is enlightening all aspects with regard to the contempt of courts cases. And here it is not for Prashant Bhushan. We have to fight for not Prashant Bhushan's rights alone. It is for everybody who is critical about the Indian judicial system. See, no one is above law, including the judges. So now the point is, who will judge the judges? So that in democracy, nothing is fallible. Even judiciary is also. That I just remind one thing. Arun Jaitley once commented in the parliament, the tyranny of Indian judiciary, and he is also critical about judiciary. So it's a right of every person to criticize. But in that criticism, whether anything is to be debated, that is a different aspect. But one should be allowed to criticize even the judges or the judgments. Is what he has very elaborately expressed, and I am thankful for the organizers
Thank you, sir.
to
Thank
say
you very much,
IAPL also supports Prashant Bhushan, and they are in solidarity with him.
Thank you, Suresh garu. Now may I request Sri Hanumantrao garu, OPDR State Leader, Andhra Pradesh. Hanumantrao garu. Now may I request HRF Leader Sri Rohit garu, Advocate. Rohit garu. Rohit garu. Now may I request Sri Srinivas garu, IAPL Vijayawada. Srinivas garu. May I request Sri Chilaka Chandrasekhar garu, PLC Andhra Pradesh. Chilaka Chandrasekhar garu. Sri AVVS Ramakrishna garu.
సార్ గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ సార్, నా పేరు రామకృష్ణ అండి.
Yes, sir.
సార్, ఇప్పుడు జడ్జెస్ రిటైర్డ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఈ పొలిటికల్ పదవులు తీసుకోవడం ఎంతవరకు కరెక్ట్ అండి? మనం రీసెంట్ గా ఒక ఆయన రాజ్యసభ తీసుకున్నారు, అంత ముందు గవర్నర్ తీసుకున్నారు. జడ్జెస్ ఏమైనా గాడ్సా? జడ్జెస్ కూడా మళ్ళంటే లేదు సార్.
The last honorable speaker will respond lastly, but now the topic chosen is different. So please, lastly, Madabar Sridhar garu will respond to your question. Now, any other participant want to speak? Chances are giving to all. Any participant?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. This is Ramchandra Reddy, Hyderabad. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. You have enlightened us a lot, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other participant want to speak?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please. Name, please. Name, please. Name, please.
Kishore Kumar.
Yes, sir. Kishore Garu. Please.
Sir, in democracy, the rule is by people. When if it is not questioned, any mistake done by Supreme Court, then who will question? It can do anything wrong.
Sir. మాట్లాడమన్నారు.
This contempt of court, it has been enacted in the British period, and the British has already repealed that act, and in India it is still continuing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're right. You're right.
Please. Any other participant, please?
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, please.
I am Ramesh Advocate from Montreal, sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
I am Ramesh Advocate.
Yes, Ramesh. Please.
Sir, I am very thankful to the organizers like you people and most of the Kolli Satyanarayana garu. Similarly, Acharya garu, Madhavar Sridhar Acharya garu, I am very thankful to giving a wonderful lecture to enlightening the advocate community and other aspects of other advocate persons and law related persons.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
నమస్కారం ఆచార్యులు గారు, శ్రీధర్ ఆచార్యులు గారు. నేను ఒక పౌరుణ్ణి. ప్రజలే ప్రభువులైన ప్రజాస్వామ్య దేశంలో ప్రజలకి జవాబుదారీగా జ్యుడిషియరీ కానివ్వండి, మరి పార్లమెంట్ కానీ అందరూ ఉండాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. దాన్ని ఎనలైటింగ్ మీరు చెప్పినందుకు ధన్యవాదాలు. నమస్కారం.
Yes, sir. Any other? So shall we conclude? Lastly, Sridhar Garu will speak for 2 minutes.
ఒక్క పాయింట్కి ఆన్సర్ చేయాలండి. నేను గురుప్రసాద్ గారికి జవాబు ఇచ్చాను. ఒక్క పాయింట్ మన రామకృష్ణ ఏబివిఎస్ ఆయన అడిగారు, ఇట్లా పదవులు తీసుకోవడం ఎంతవరకు కరెక్ట్ అని. చెప్పేది ఉంది అందులో, మీరు ప్రభుత్వం వారికి అనుకూలమైన తీర్పులు ఇస్తే మీకు ఇష్టమైన పదవులు ఇస్తారు అని దాంట్లో ఒక అర్థం చెప్పకుండానే వినపడుతుంది. ఆ మాట అంటే ఇప్పుడు కరప్షన్ అన్నమాట. ఇప్పుడు ఈ 4 చీఫ్ జస్టిసెస్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా అన్న దాంట్లో ఆయన కూడా ఒక ఆయన ఉన్నాడు, రాజ్యసభ తీసుకున్న ఆయన ఒక ఆయన ఉన్నాడు, గవర్నర్ తీసుకున్న ఆయన ఒక ఆయన ఉన్నాడు, 2 వచ్చినారు. ఇంకో 2 గురించి ఆయన చెప్పడానికి ఏముందండి అందులో? ఇప్పుడు ఇంత భయపడుతూ ఏదో ఇప్పుడు డిఫమేషన్ అనుకుందాం, ఫర్ ఎ వైల్ లెట్ అస్ సే ఈ 4 జడ్జీలను ఆయన విమర్శించేది లేకుండా అనుకుందాం, 4 జడ్జీలు అనేది లేకుండా అనుకుందాం. అప్పుడు డిఫమేషన్ కింద ట్రీట్ చేయాలి, కానీ కంటెంప్ట్ కింద జైలుకి ఎట్లా పంపుతావా? మనం ఎట్లా ఆలోచిస్తుంది, నాకు ఒక్కొక్కసారి ఆశ్చర్యం కలుగుతుంది. ఇక్కడ ఇష్యూ ఆఫ్ ప్రశాంత్ భూషణ్, ఇష్యూ ఆఫ్ అరుణ్ మిశ్రా కాదు, ఇష్యూ ఆఫ్ ఎందుకు రాసుకున్నారండి కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్? మీకు చదివితే కూడా అర్థం కాకపోతే ఈ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ మనకి ఇంతసేపు మీరు విన్న తర్వాత కూడా ఇఫ్ యూ థింక్ దట్ ది ప్రశాంత్ భూషణ్స్ కామెంట్ is unjustified, I really surprised అండి. అంటున్నారు, నాకు బాధ లేదు. ఈ విషయం మీకు అర్థం కాకపోతే ఎంత బాగుంటుంది అనేది నా ఆవేదన. ఏం చేస్తాం, ఇది ఇట్లా ఉన్నది, ఇది దేశం. ఇట్లనే ఓట్లు కూడా వేస్తారు, ఇట్లనే ప్రభులు వచ్చేస్తారు, ఇట్లనే నాశనం చేసేస్తారు అన్ని ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ ని. ఎవరు విమర్శించడానికి వీలు ఉండదు. అది మనకు తగిలినప్పుడు తెలుస్తుంది. ఇఫ్ ఇట్ కమ్స్ టు అస్, యూ విల్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇట్. ఐ డోంట్ విష్ దట్ ఇట్ షుడ్ కమ్ టు యూ, బట్ దట్ ఈస్ ది ఓన్లీ వే people understand this. I am very sorry, and anyway I am extremely happy that I heard the other view also. ఇంట్లో కూడా ఆలోచిస్తారనేది నాకు ఈ మీటింగ్ లో తెలిసింది. చాలా సంతోషం అండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
Dear friends, almost we spent 2 hours for this lecture and interaction. On behalf of All India Lawyers Union for both Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and also on behalf of other organizations, HRF, APCLC, APCLA, IAPL, OPDR, and all, we collectively mobilized this call, and we are doing some activity. And moreover, tomorrow also some sort of support to Prashant Bhushan is giving from all the sides of the different sections of the people. So by participating this webinar and seminar, you cooperated to the organizers. We are very much thankful to the participants who participated from various states of our country. We are very much thankful to Sri Madhav Sridharacharya. We just gave 1 day prior notice. Just last night we contacted. Why? Because tomorrow the matter is listed before Supreme Court. So we have to discuss priorly so that without any preparation, just last night we asked Sas permission. In the morning 10 he consented for us, so that this hastily we conducted this. But moreover, all the participants very enthusiastically participated and make this a grand success. Thank you to one and all. We are ending this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Vasu, for conducting the good program. Vasu, thank you for conducting the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.